We have a great program in store for you. Right now, we want to give recognition to our generous sponsors who made this morning's program possible. Our presenting sponsor for this morning's event is Blue Cross Blue Shield of Massachusetts. I would like to introduce Heidi Fountain, Account Executive, Municipal Sales, to come up and say a few words. Heidi?
Thank you, fortunately. Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me okay? Maybe up a little closer? Great. Thank you, and good morning. I'm excited to be here with everyone this morning and to have the opportunity to hear from our wonderful community leaders, Mayor Will Reichelt and Mayor Bill Sapelli. My name is Heidi Fountain, and I'm here today with Blue Cross Blue Shield of Massachusetts. Blue Cross is proud to be a not-for-profit, community-focused, Massachusetts-based health plan that serves almost 3 million members, 30,000 businesses, and 80% of cities and towns across the Commonwealth. Our mission is the relentless pursuit of quality, affordable health care, and an unparalleled customer experience. Our scale and access have enabled us to drive advancements that matter, from revolutionizing our contracting with hospitals and doctors by introducing payment models that keep people healthier, to helping create and launch a complete care for advanced illness program to better serve our members and families dealing with the toughest circumstances, to introducing a prescription pain management safety program that became a national model in addressing the opioid crisis. This program is a particular point of pride for us, as it eliminated over 20 million doses of opioid-based medication and cut claims in half for long-acting opioids such as OxyContin. And because the opioid epidemic continues to be such a challenge in our communities, last year we piloted an opioid toolkit with the town of Ware and the city of Brockton to further equip and train their teams to reverse overdoses when possible. And we're exploring an expansion of that initiative in 2019. We also know that our responsibility as a business leader extends beyond our membership and customer base. So our vision isn't limited to addressing complex health issues. We partner with cities and towns and hundreds of nonprofits to develop healthy living initiatives that create access to healthy foods, opportunities to exercise, and healthy environments. A lot of those partnerships serve residents right here in Western Mass, and I'd like to share a few examples with you. This year, we've joined forces with a local farmers market in Amherst as the first title sponsor to help them expand their reach and make healthy, locally produced fruits and vegetables more accessible to shoppers of all income levels. In Springfield, we're working with some incredible partners to help keep seniors active and engaged with each other in their community. In the schools, we're working with the district to provide students living in food-insecure households with nutritious meals they can rely on over the weekend. And in Chicopee, we work with Mass Farm to School on supporting school-based garden clubs and Harvest of the Month program focused on introducing a wide range of healthy foods into young people's diets and vocabularies, encouraging them to try new things. From our community focus on healthy living to our customer and member commitment of exceptional service, Blue Cross Blue Shield of Massachusetts is proud to be a true partner to the businesses and municipalities we serve. We're honored to be here today. Thank you to Robin and the West of the River Chamber for hosting this fantastic event and for giving us an opportunity to be part of it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Heidi, so much, and thank you to Blue Cross Blue Shield of Massachusetts for your support. Would representatives from Blue Cross Blue Shield of Massachusetts please stand for recognition? One of our premier sponsors this morning is OMG. Headquartered in Agawam, Massachusetts, OMG is a leading manufacturer and global supplier of fasteners, products, and technology for the commercial, roofing, and residential construction markets. The company's focus is delivering innovative solutions that improve safety, quality, and productivity in construction applications. Founded in 1984 as Olympic Fasteners, OMG today has over 600 employees globally and more than 350 in Western Mass, making it one of the area's largest employers. Absolutely. In addition, OMG operates manufacturing plants in Agawam, Addison, Illinois, Asheville, North Carolina, and Rockford, Minnesota, has global sales force of over 100 in North America, Europe, and Asia, has 2 operating divisions, OMG Roofing Products and Fasten Master, and produces more than 1 billion fasteners per year. Please visit omginc.com for additional information. Would representatives from OMG please stand for recognition? Thank you, OMG. Another premier sponsor this morning is Republic Services. Republic Services is an industry leader in the non-hazardous solid waste industry with operations in 39 states and Puerto Rico with over 33,000 dedicated employees. Republic's collection companies, transfer stations, recycling centers, and landfills focus on providing effortless solutions for more than 14 million commercial, industrial, and residential customers. For over 60 years, they have partnered with municipalities, residents, and businesses in the Pioneer Valley to provide solid waste, recycling, and yard waste collection services, employing 100 people at their 2 local facilities. They partner with small and large businesses and with enormous communities, including Agawam and West Springfield, to meet all of their recycling and waste collection service needs by continuing customer service focused solutions. Would representatives from Republic Services please stand for recognition? Thank you, Dan, and everybody from Republic Services. If you look in your little bags, there's these little blue, some of you have, little blue recyclable keychains. They're the cutest things ever. I thought they were so cute. Our preferred sponsors this morning are Health New England and Horizon Services, and our coffee station sponsor is Insurance Center of New England. Would representatives from those companies please stand for recognition? I would like to take this time to thank our past chairman, Frank Palangi, for his dedication and time over the past year and a half as he led this chamber with pride and devotion. Thank you, Frank. Your leadership in our chamber helped us grow and educate our business community. We truly appreciate your time. Frank, working with Frank over the past year and a half has been amazing. I'm not going in, no stories, I promise. But we took the chamber to new heights as far as educating the skills gap and a lot of bridging the gaps between education and the local businesses here. So Frank's passion became my passion as well, and I think we did great things over the past year and a half, and I want to thank you for that. I would like to welcome our new chairman, Attorney Ryan McLean, as he takes his seat for the next year and a half leading this great group. Ryan, if you would please come up and say a few words as you begin your new endeavor as chairman.
Thank you. Thanks, Robin.
Yep.
And thanks, Frank. He did do a great job. I hope to continue the job that he did. You got me for 18 months as well, so I guess buckle up. Thank you to the sponsors. Thank you for everyone for being here. So I have, some other ideas as well, including increasing our, it's been a rough morning, increasing our participation in a lot of these events. I noticed that our participation is down a little bit, and these events are highly, highly valuable to our members. One of the things I'd like to do is increase the participation. This is a very well attended event right now. I'd like to increase a lot of those, as well as increase our appearance and increase our participation in a lot of legislation, both locally and at the state level. So, I just wanted to introduce myself, say thank you to you all. Thank you to the mayors. We do have some very, very hardworking and very business-friendly mayors. I think this is a good time, not only for the towns of West Springfield and Agawam, but a good time for the West of the River Chamber of Commerce. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Ryan. If all of the board of directors who are with us this morning could please stand for recognition for the time you have volunteered every month to ensure our chamber's success. Please join me in thanking all of the business leaders who, as you can see, have dedicated much time and effort to make this chamber stronger and more relevant. Thank you all. I am proud to now turn the program over to our Mayor of Agawam, Bill Sapelli, and Mayor of West Springfield, Will Reichelt. Will, did you use the handicap space?
No.
You did? Frank did. Oh, no. With all that is happening, hold on. Let me get it. With all that is happening in our towns, they will provide updates and answer questions you may have after they have both given updates. For the Q&A portion, our moderator will be Robert McDonald, Executive Director of Work Opportunity Council. Thank you, Robert, for coming this morning and moderating the Q&A portion. I would first like to introduce the Mayor of Agawam, Bill Sapelli, to the podium to give us an Agawam Town update. Bill? Thank you so much.
Thank you, Robin. And thank you to the West of the River Chamber for all that you do. Thank you, Frank, for all your service over the last year and a half. Ryan, best of luck to you. And thanks, Rob. You're always stepping in here, whether it's a debate or moderating an event like this, but thank you. I know there's other things you could be doing, but you're here and we appreciate it. And I can't thank Robin enough for all that she does. We all know how hard she works. We see her at all these events and getting involved in all these activities, doing news releases. So a nice round of applause for Robin. You do a great job. Before I get started, I'd just like to recognize a few of the elected officials from Agawam. I'm sure Will is going to do West Springfield. But we have from our school committee, Shelley Reed. City Councilwoman, Rosemary Sandlin. And Vice President of our City Council, C.C. Calabrese. Thank you for coming this morning. Thank you to the sponsors. They do an outstanding job on a number of fronts. The services that they afford to our communities is one thing, but the jobs that they create is second to none. You talk about OMG. They just do an outstanding job in Agawam. They're an outstanding neighbor for us, and we appreciate everything they do. We have a great relationship with the Republic Services. We appreciate what they do. Of course, we have Six Flags New England, HP Hood. We have several of them. I don't want to mention them all. I'll leave somebody out. But we appreciate what they bring to the table in Agawam for services and job creation. It's a wonderful thing. About a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, I gave a State of the City address to City Council. So I'll try to keep my remarks within that 15 to 20 minutes, Rob. Just yank me out of the way so Will can get up. I don't want to run off up here, but okay, great. There's a lot of things going on in Agawam. It seems like I've been mayor for a long time, and probably that's because I was on the school side for so long, and I knew all the people and the history, and I guess where all the bodies were buried, you could say. And it's interesting. Already this November, I'm up for election again because it's a 2-year term, so that'll be interesting to see what happens there. But in this short time, just over a year, a lot's been happening. We talk about many things when you're talking about your city and accomplishments. One of the things I want to first talk about is education and the assistance we get from West of the River Chamber. It's amazing what they've been doing over the years. When I was on the school side, both Robin and Alan Rogers, who's here today, have done a phenomenal job of getting sponsors, as some people in this room have come, to the schools to present to our students on Career Day, to let the students know about some of the careers that are open to them as they're trying to make decisions as they move on through life through the schools. And we even do it at the 8th grade level, which seems early to some, but it really isn't. And the impact that you've had with these programs has been very beneficial to the students. Just recently, I've been around for a while, and some of you in this room probably remember, as I do, when you were in high school, they had all the shops. They had the metal shop, the wood shop, the print shop, the electric shop. Those are all passé now. We go to our collaboratives. We have a wonderful collaborative. West Springfield, Agawam, and 5 other communities are involved in a collaborative over there on Brush Hill. And it's a wonderful facility. They do outstanding work, and they bring something else to the table for students that have that ability of hands-on and aren't necessarily college-bound. And I think one mistake we've made over the years is that we've tried to push all students to go to college. And what we're really finding is that all that does for some of them, who really shouldn't have been on that path, is give them a lot of debt that they never get out from under. There are many, many individuals that are hands-on type people. This manufacturing is something that's taking off, and many people in this room can appreciate that because they have businesses that promote that. What Agawam's done recently is we took one of our shops that we actually never really changed over because we have a robotics program, but it had little use in the manufacturing aspect. So what we've done recently is through Superintendent Lemansky, is he's regenerated that program, and we call it a STEM program, as you're probably aware of, or STEAM, which is science, technology, engineering, and math, and the A is for arts, when you bring that into the picture. And recently, the Westwood River Chamber purchased 2 simulators for that particular area. And we had a CNC machine donated. And we did have some of the lathes and some of the drill presses and band saws and things of that nature that were still there that we're utilizing. And that program in this first year has filled. It's filled up already. And we're very proud of that fact. Now, obviously, for the more intense manufacturing program, we have the collaborative, the Lower Pioneer Valley Educational Collaborative Program. But it's a good start, and it gets the individual students interested in that field. And I think they're seeing there are other options out there other than college. And I think that's very, very important. We've got to push that a little bit more. So those are some of the things that are going on educationally. And West River Chamber is right in the middle of that. We appreciate your assistance with that and those career days. It's been outstanding. Alan, you do a great job when you come in. And I think the students get an awful lot out of that. I know the staff does. And there's follow-up conversations in the classrooms after you leave, which is very beneficial. Infrastructure. Every community that you talk to has problems with streets, sidewalks, now there's stormwater issues, and the like. This past year in Agawam, and we're not done with the fiscal year yet, but we'll be spending close to $3 million on streets and sidewalks alone. If you were driving through Agawam this past year, you probably noticed a lot of the construction on the streets and sidewalks. And we're doing concrete sidewalks, which is nice too. So we're spending a lot of money, we're putting a lot of focus on that, which obviously is good for the businesses in town as well as the residents themselves. We have a great DPW department, and our engineering department has a pavement plan. And in a pavement plan, what you need to do is you have to have as much put into preventative maintenance as you do in repair and replacement. Now, preventive maintenance is where you have streets and sidewalks that are in pretty decent shape, and what you need to do is maintain them by filling the cracks. There's fog seal, there's crack seal, there's all sorts of different techniques you can use. And what that does is it saves that sidewalk and gives you a longer life from that sidewalk or that road so that you don't have to completely replace it, because that can be very expensive and obviously disruptive. So we're spending a lot of time and energy on preventative maintenance, but we've also done a lot of complete replacements of streets if you've been through Agawam. And we're going to continue to do that. I just had the city council, I presented with them an idea of transferring close to $1 million. It was basically $900,000 approximately a week ago, because we were so aggressive with our plan of attack with the streets and sidewalks. So we spent all the money we had. We had the Chapter 90 money of about close to $1 million, plus our own basic budget that we had. And now we put another $900,000 because we spent all our money up until this point. The fiscal year ends June 30th, so we still have April, May, and June. 3 good weather months to do some blacktopping and concrete work on sidewalks. So they transferred $500,000 over to streets and $400,000 over sidewalks. So we're going to continue to progress with getting our town in great shape as far as the streets and sidewalks are concerned. So we're doing a lot with regard to that. We're doing a lot with regard to education. Um, One of the other things with regard to infrastructure that we're having to address, as all communities are, is the stormwater issue. Approximately a year ago, July, through the Clean Water Act, federal legislation, came out that mandated that each community start paying more attention to the stormwater issues. By that I mean, they're going to make sure that we sweep the streets, and you have to document that so many times a year. Clean the catch basins. You have to test the water, because all this stormwater, whether it's rainwater, melting snow, whatever, that runs off into our streams, brooks, rivers, you have to test the water to see for contaminants. You have to distribute that, and you have to send those in. These are all things that are going to take a lot more out of our budget, because you have to have the manpower and equipment to address these needs. So one of our big tasks is going to be funding, as it is with everything that happens. We have another unfunded mandate, but we're used to that, so we'll have to put our heads together and figure out a way. The city council and I are working on that now with how we're going to address some of those needs. Agawam alone, we have 5,000 catch basins. We have over 122 miles of streets, and pipe under the streets that we have that are stormwater related. And many of those structures are 50, 60, 70, 80 years old. Some of those pipes have collapsed. Some of them have been tied up with roots. Those are things we have to address in the near future. So that's going to be something we have to address. One of the big things in everybody's mind, and I know that Mayor Reichelt will be talking about as well, and I'm sure there'll be questions about it, is this bridge project that we have between West Springfield and Agawam, the Morgan Sullivan Bridge. Now, Will and I have been friends for a while, and we've been closely working together with anybody we could pull into the mix, whether it's our state reps and senators. We've met with the lieutenant governor and the governor. We've met with the secretary of the Department of Transportation, Pollock. They've actually been out here with us. We've had meetings at his building. We have meetings in my building. We've met with our police, our fire. We've met with some of the people in this particular room. And you have concerns, and of course we have concerns, whether it's the length of time this particular project's going to take, whether it's signage to help mitigate some of the confusion and problems of what Mayor Reichelt and I have been closely working on, is getting signaling from the Department of Transportation to indicate to individuals in West Springfield and Agawam at least a half mile out, quarter mile out from the Vietnam Memorial Bridge, which also is known as, if you are around long enough, the Strathmore Bridge, that connects over on Front Street, West Springfield and Agawam. That train, CSX, has been blocking that path for, God, years. And Will and I actually met with Gentleman Scott Conti from the Department of Transportation, the DOT. One day we had him come out there with us physically. And as we were there, we actually had an off-duty state trooper who lives in Agawam. Actually, he wasn't off-duty. He was in uniform and in his vehicle. He pulled up because he saw us, and he said, "Mayor, are you here because of what happened earlier?" I said, "What happened earlier?" He said, "The arms came down for the crossing, but there was no train, and it was down for 20 minutes. He said, "I bring my child to St. Thomas School every morning, and I pick him up every afternoon." He said, "This place is a nightmare." He said, "The train stops, it backs up, it goes forward, it stops, it backs up, it goes forward." The gentleman with us was fairly new to DOT. They had hired him within the last year, and what he had done in his previous career was he worked for one of the main railroads. I don't know if it was Boston and Maine or whoever it was, but they took him on because he had expertise in rails. So it was nice to have him there, and he was observing with us, and he was very concerned. And he heard it firsthand. So this gentleman was explaining to me, and I introduced him to this Department of Transportation individual, and he apologized. "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt." I said, "No, keep going." I said, "You're explaining this much better than I could." Will and I were down. We couldn't have staged it better. So he was getting firsthand, the gentleman from the DOT, on what some of the issues are. So what they promised us, DOT did, is to give us these signal signs, electronic signs that are located about a half mile, quarter mile away from the bridge, indicating that there is in fact a train there, so that people wouldn't go down to the bridge, as we've all seen done, and then do a U-turn, which is dangerous, and come back. Well, we've been working on that for months. We've held meetings with CSX several times, and CSX has an interesting way about them. I've never seen a group of individuals who could say no in so many different ways, but be very polite and smile at you while they're doing it. And we were very frustrated with that, but the DOT is as well. And we even went to Senator Markey, spoke with him when we were down the mayor's conference at MMA in January, because Senator Markey's in charge. He's in Congress, and he represents the Transportation Committee. We also had 2 or 3 meetings with Congressman Neal about CSX, and everybody gives us the same story. They're tough to deal with, and we're hearing that, but we're not giving up, and we keep plugging away. We're not going to go away. We'll see what we can get with that. But just recently, I had a conference call with somebody from the Lieutenant Governor's office. Some of you may know Pat Carnevale. He came out, and we had a conference call with the people from the DOT, and I asked about those signal signs because they're not here yet. And apparently they had estimated a certain price, and then they doubled the price, as Mayor Reichelt and I found out when we investigated it. And I said, so that doesn't mean you're not going to do it now, I hope. They said, no, but now we have to go out to bid. I said, you had to go out to bid anyway. It was $500,000 initially. Now you're saying it's $1 million, so you would have had to go out to bid for that anyway. So in this conference call, there was a gentleman that we've been dealing with who is pretty positive and pretty aggressive, and a person I trust because they're follow through. He told me by April 1st we're going to at least get temporary. What's holding it up, he said, is that we can't pour the concrete bases in this weather. And we need the concrete bases to do it right. He said, but I'm telling you right now, you will at least get temporary until the weather breaks starting April 1st, and then we're going to put the permanent ones in. And they're going to do it at their expense, and what they are going to do after is turn those over to us, and we'll have to maintain them moving forward, which is a good thing. We don't just want this for the bridge project. This is something that's been an ongoing issue. Even if the bridge is working, we all try to use that route. So we've been working diligently together, and it's been a great effort, and we're both being pests to the DOT, and we'll continue to do so until we get what we need. We also brought to their attention, and we both met with the governor and lieutenant governor on several occasions about this project, and we said to them, in no uncertain terms, we said, the Tobin Bridge you're going to be doing in Boston, that's a pretty big bridge compared to our Morgan Sullivan Bridge, and you're saying that's going to be 2 years. Why is that 2 years and this is 3 years? That doesn't make sense. And why, when this project was estimated at $30 million and came in at $21.5, all that extra money, almost $9 million, why can't we take some of that, put that towards incentive money for Northern Construction to have them work on weekends and nights? That's what other projects do. You see them working on 91 or Mass Pike, or when they were doing the viaduct over in Springfield, they were working odd hours. They were working nights and weekends. That costs money, but they had saved money in what they thought they were going to have to pay for that bridge, so there's really no excuse, and we're not letting up on that either. And they're working on that. They have asked Northern Construction for an estimate on what that would cost, DOT did, and we're waiting to hear on that, so we're pushing for that as well. The traffic concerns, we've all been there now, they've closed that bridge down now about mid-January, and I know I was talking to Gene Cassidy from the Big E, and we're all frustrated with traffic. It's down River Street in West Springfield, it's down Memorial Avenue. They won't make you make a left-hand turn if you're coming over the bridge. We're investigating that with our safety people. I had my chief and my safety officer in Agawam meet with me last week to find out what we can do, and we're going to get together with West Springfield's safety crew and find out if there's something we can do, and we'll certainly pull the Big E into it if necessary. And I know we talked about, Gene and I and Will talked about meeting probably in July or August to address some of the strategies that we're going to use during the Big E time for traffic, because obviously there's going to be issues with the one lane on the bridge. They did say they will stop construction, so you won't see people, workers that is, and you won't see equipment in the road and going on at the time of the 17 days of the Big E. That'll be somewhat helpful, but we're really concerned about the one lane each way and the turns and whatnot. We're going to have to make some adjustments. So we'll be meeting with you, Gene, and we'll be talking to DOT prior to that, so we'll have some information, maybe even have them come to that meeting to let them know what our concerns are. And you could express that, being in your position, better than us as far as what some of the ramifications are of not being able to make left turns, right turns, and whatever. So there's a lot we're doing. We're cooperating a lot with West Springfield. We work together. They're two very similar communities, and they're two communities that have a lot of similar things going on, and we're sharing a lot of our resources. There's been times that I'm new at this, so there's been times I've gone over to see Will or seen Kate and share ideas with them, and they've done the same with us. So it's a great relationship that is going to continue, and we're just trying to do the best for the businesses in our community and for the residents. And thank you for coming this morning. I won't go on. My time must be close to being up, so 1 minute? Wow. So, thank you, and I see Dave Fleury in the back. Dave, would you just stand? Dave is the owner of Crestview Country Club. Thank you, great meal this morning. Thank you, Dave. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Time is up. Thank you, Robin.
I run a tight ship.
I'm good. I'm good.
Thank you, Mayor Sapelli, for all of the information that you provided for our business community. We appreciate your time. Mayor Reichelt, you're up. You can sit if you need to.
Wow. Well, Robin, thank you for the text last night to let me know what time to show up, and I was at the right place. Although you said our legislators would be here, so we could direct bridge questions to them. But
It's the snow.
okay. And Ryan, congratulations. You know, I also got to work under Frank for a while when I was on the planning board. He's the one that got me involved, and you know, I'm here now, so something must have rubbed off. But good luck. He's a great guy. And thank you also, Chairman of the Planning Board, and Mike Alexak is ZBA over here. Volunteers we have in town on all these boards are crucial to what we do. So I want to thank you guys for your service, and anyone else that wants to get involved in town, we have a bunch of openings, and it's a ton of fun. And also Bruce Gendron, counselor, our counselor. I think that's the only one here too. Yeah, right in front. I want to thank you, elected officials too. It's tough a job, and we appreciate all you do and the time you give to us. So I'll touch on a few things, but we'll go do the bridge first because Mayor Spelli talked about that, and CSX. So I have been in West Springfield for this is my 5th year now, entering my 4th year as mayor, but a year and a half as the attorney. And we've had issues with CSX ever since 2014. And what we allege and what they deny is that when they could double stack the trains, when the bridges were all raised, so they could double stack the trains from Boston to Selkirk, that was when we started to see excessive delays at the Front Street crossing. They'll obviously deny that, and they have to me in the wonderful meetings we have. But working with them is very difficult, as Mayor Sapelli said. I've met with them every year, and every year they have a new promise, and the next year they have a new way that they're not going to be able to meet that promise. So originally they were going to give us a grant to pay for the signs that the state's paying for now. Then the next year they said they lost the coal business, so they didn't have the grants, but they'll let us tie into their system. The next year was, oh, you can't tie into your system, and we're not going to pay for the signs, but you can put them out there if you want. But we're not going to move the trains. And it's been very difficult. In 2015, they blocked the crossing for an hour and a half during the Big E, which is frustrating for everyone because obviously there's already traffic. And then before this bridge issue started, the state and CSX weren't aware that they each had issues going on. CSX wasn't aware of the bridge, and the state wasn't aware of the crossing problems, allegedly. So it has gotten better with the state being willing to pay if they actually do come through with the signs to put those up. I know it's unfortunately just like a Band-Aid because CSX won't give us or can't allegedly give us their train schedules when they come either out of Boston or out of New York because they don't know, they say. Even though if you order on Amazon, you can get your package in 2 days. They don't know when the trains are going to come, which is frustrating too because I think a lot of people that I've talked to just want to know when the train's going to be there. So if the train's going to be there every day at 10 o'clock, then I'll go a different way. But unfortunately, you never really know. Sometimes it's there in the morning at 8, sometimes it's not. It's like gambling. You go to MGM, you can just run on the tracks. But it's been a really difficult kind of working relationship with them, especially with this bridge now ongoing. We've talked about it for a while, now it's happening, and the traffic is backing up significantly. And if you want to cut the traffic on River Street, if you're going from West Side to Agawam and you go and the train's there, then the traffic's backed all the way up. So hopefully these signs will help. And the only other option is they go down 57 all the way around. But for the next couple of years, that's unfortunate we're going to have to do. But I would encourage you all as business owners, you can put pressure on us, and that's good, and we're going to talk to DOT, and we do, but also on the legislators, as Mayor Sapelli said, there is that money that they didn't spend, and they could pay that now to the contractor to accelerate the project. And that's a whole process that apparently the contractor has to go through if it's possible, and if the state has to ask for it and say, could you accelerate the project, give us a proposal, and they can do that, but the state has to ask. So there is money, ideally. They did the viaduct, which I was on. I served in the planning board for 6 or 7 years with Frank. I was the rep to the Pioneer Valley Planning Commission. And for like 6 years, they said how bad the viaduct was. It was going to fall down. It needs $1 billion. It's never going to happen. MGM comes in, and all of a sudden it's done in 3 years. So if they're able to do that and find the money, I think they can do this too and make sure that this crucial crossing into our two communities is taken care of as fast as possible. So that's the bridge, and we're happy to answer questions about that afterwards. As Mayor Sapelli said, I worked in Agawam for 2 years as their attorney, so I got to work with him and learn from him when he was a superintendent. So we have a great working relationship, and as you said, our two communities, as you all know, are very similar, and I'm happy to be here and answer those questions. So for West Springfield, real quick, I'll cover a couple things. Some of them is the same as Mayor Sapelli said, like infrastructure and education. But first, this is kind of our first time doing this in February. Usually we are like the sideshow to the legislators in September. And for that, the budget's already done, and we're kind of talking about things we're doing as we enter in. It's big E season, there's a lot of stuff going on. But now we're at the beginning of budget season, which is good because it's an opportunity to, I don't see John Weiss here, but as we craft a budget and move towards, in the end of the year when we set the tax rate, which is odd, you do a budget, then you figure out how to pay for it. But now is the time to really get involved in that budget process and see where money's going and what we're doing, what our priorities are over the next year, and how that is going to affect the tax rates later on. DOR just came out with their tax study, I guess, of the whole state. West Side's taxes, average single-family tax bill went down $13. They don't have the commercial rate of what happened, but the mill rate went down. It's still not as low as Agawam's. But it's a process we've gone through over the past really 4 years to make sure that when we look at our budget, we're not adding a ton of stuff that we can't pay for. We don't want to increase taxes. We're also giving good services at the same time that are affordable. So what I've done over the past 3 years has gone through the budget and try to find what we all talk about as waste, but extra stuff that we don't really need, or some people have been with town for many, many years, and when they leave, you reevaluate their position and determine if you need it or not, or if you can consolidate with other issues or other things. We've consolidated a lot of our IT now, and on school side and town side is all in one department now. We're moving HR in that direction as well, so central maintenance. All this stuff that used to be separated among two departments, and a lot of stuff was doubled, and we're paying for that, is now all in one, so it costs us less. So we've been able to not raise taxes for 4 years doing a lot of that stuff. Infrastructure-wise, and also obviously new growth, we have a brand new hotel opening next month, I believe. Agrimark invested $27 million in a new dryer last year. So being business-friendly, as Mayor Sapelli said, is good as well because it attracts new growth, and that new growth is really what covers contractual raises every year. The cost of business, obviously, as you all know, always goes up. But being able to keep taxes level means allowing new growth to happen and encouraging people to come do business in West Springfield and move and live in West Springfield. So that new growth has been able to cover those 2% raises for staff because 80% of our budget pretty much is personnel. So being business friendly, open to new opportunities has allowed us to cover those new costs. Infrastructure wise, as Mayor Spelly said, we have a lot of underground pipes. That's something that is not sexy at all to talk about. Everyone wants you to just pave. But when you're paving all these roads, you're paving over pipes that could be up to 100 years old. And when they break, you have people yelling and screaming at you saying, why'd you just pave my road if you're going to dig it up to replace the pipe? So I go, okay, well, we're not going to pave the road until we fix the pipe. Then they freak out and say, well, why aren't you going to pave my road? So it's really difficult, but just spending a ton of money paving isn't always good if you're just going to pave over the problem and leave it for a future mayor to deal with, which I would love to do, but we're not going to do it that way. So what we do now is try to identify roads that the underground infrastructure is good because you still have to pave. Paving is good for your bond rating. Paving is good so people aren't paying out pothole claims. Keep Kate busy. And paving is good just because you want good roads in town. You want people driving along good roads. So at the same time, we're trying to identify the other roads that need to be paved, but also need underground infrastructure fixed. So while we haven't raised taxes in 4 years, our water and sewer rates have gone up. And it's been the first time in many, many years that they've gone up. I appreciate the council raising the sewer rates. So now we have money on hand to fix all these problems and then pave it at the same time. So our water rates are still, I think, the lowest. I mean, ag one might be lower. But it's not a great thing to be low on because the cost of delivering water, treating water, and fixing breaks is expensive. And having an artificially low rate means you're just taking property tax dollars to fix the problem that you should be doing with the user fees for the people that are using the water. So it's something we're working on and trying to sell to the public of that, the water lines do need to be fixed. They're very old. We have video of sewer lines. It looks like it's a jungle. The lines are 100 years old too. And when they break, then you get sewage in your basement. It's not fun. So doing that is expensive, but it's important because we won't have to worry about it for many, many years afterwards. So that's something we're doing as well. And we haven't started the stormwater issue yet, but that is also something that's coming down the line. And it's the third pipe that's in the ground. When we do new development, as Frank knows, it's really difficult for businesses to understand why we're making you invest in stormwater management on your property and why that's changed. And it used to all be paved, but now we have to put trees in. And that's because the stormwater pipes in our roads were meant for our roads. They weren't meant for the additional water that's being generated by development, which development's good. But when our roads flood during a rainstorm, and this past year we had, I think something like 16 inches of rain over the course of the year, the most rain in 100 years. So it's like that 100-year storm we always talk about has happened over the past year. And you've seen, driving under bridges on Route 5 and under lower railroad crossings, what happens when the stormwater system can't handle that water. So that's something we have to invest in as well. And again, that costs money. You don't want to use property tax dollars on that. You want to generate user fees for that as well. So it's something we're dealing with in soon. And then finally, we'll talk a little bit about education. Our education system is amazing. Mayor Spelling knows more about education than I do since you've worked in it for many, many years. But we just built a new high school that is 5 years old now, crazily. Our middle school we built 20 years ago. And we're building a new elementary school now. Coburn Elementary School in the center of town is going to have about 705 students in it. So it'll be our biggest elementary school. It's right in the center of town, though. And the MSBA, which is the Mass School Building Authority, is paying us back about 75 cents on the dollar to build it. So it's a great opportunity. The school is 100 years old that it's replacing. Cowling and Coburn are 100 years old. So it's a great opportunity to invest in our students. At the same time, it's our school that has 35 different languages from students from 55 different countries. So they're the ones that are definitely going to benefit from that. But our whole district will benefit as well as the region, by having kids that can come out and are either college ready or work ready, and will come to work for all of you guys. So we appreciate your help in that. We have a Pathways to Prosperity program. It's like an innovation grant that came down from the federal government years ago. And the state has copied it as well, and now they're helping to fund it. We've had it for about 5 years now, and the way it's transitioning, it's no longer grant funded, so we'll be funding it, but it's going to be a work-based learning position as well. So ideally, that new person, if it gets through the budget next year, will come to meetings like this to kind of make connections with you all so that our students can come work in the community and get that experience before they even graduate, so they kind of know what they want to do. Unlike me, who kind of bounced around colleges till I finally went to law school. So they'll have that opportunity right away, and then maybe they won't go to college, and maybe they'll come out and work right away. But they'll at least leave Westside High ready to do either college, work, trade school, whatever it is. They'll have that opportunity. So I'll stop. I don't know if I have time left, but I'll yield that to questions, because I think that's valuable. I'm sure you all have questions for us, and especially the bridge, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Van Pelt, for all of